Welcome to the HRKyle Podcast, your go-to source for insightful discussions on leadership, job searching, and all things human resources. I'm your host, HRKyle, and each week we dive deep into topics relevant to professionals seeking to elevate their careers and organizations. Whether you're a seasoned leader, a job seeker navigating the ever-changing landscape of employment, or an enthusiast looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the podcast for you. Join me as we explore practical strategies, share expert insights, and engage in meaningful conversations that empower you to succeed in today's dynamic workplace. So, adjust your headphones and let's dive in. Welcome back to another edition of the HRKyle Podcast. I'm your host, HRKyle, and today we have a powerful and inspiring episode for you. If you're in the midst of a prolonged job search and feeling the weight of it, this episode is especially for you. In segment 1, we'll dive deep into how to stay resilient during a long job search. I'll share strategies and tips to help you maintain a positive mindset, stay productive, and keep your motivation high even when the going gets tough. Then in segment 2, I'll be joined by a very special guest, Karl, who has personally experienced the ups and downs of a prolonged job search. Karl will share his journey, the challenges he's faced, and how he's managed to stay resilient and ultimately find success. His story is not only relatable, but also filled with practical advice and inspiration that I know you'll find valuable. But before we dive into these insightful segments, let's take a quick break. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss this episode. Greetings, I'm Kyle Smith, and I'm here to offer you a speaking experience that goes beyond the ordinary. With a rich background in leadership, HR, and personal development, I bring a unique blend of expertise and passion to every presentation. Whether it's Leadership Unleashed, well-being at work, or career mastery, I delve into topics that empower individuals and organizations to reach their fullest potential. What sets me apart? Proven expertise, an engaging delivery style, and actionable insights that drive positive change. But here's the kicker. I don't just offer a one-size-fits-all approach. I customize my content to meet the specific needs and goals of your event. So let's elevate your event together. Contact me now to reserve your date and unlock the full potential of your audience and organization. Don't miss out on the opportunity to inspire greatness. Visit HRKyle.com today. Welcome back to the HRKyle Podcast. I'm your host, HRKyle, and today we're tackling a topic that's both challenging and incredibly important: staying resilient in the face of a prolonged job search. If you've been on the hunt for a new job for a while now, you know it can be a draining and sometimes disheartening process. But resilience is the key, and I'm here to share some strategies to help you stay motivated and positive throughout your journey. First and foremost, let's talk about maintaining a positive mindset. It's easy to feel discouraged when job applications don't yield immediate results, but remember, every no brings you closer to a yes. Try to view each rejection as a learning opportunity rather than a setback. Each experience helps you refine your approach and better understand what employers are looking for. Keep reminding yourself that you're making progress, even if it doesn't always feel that way. Next, let's discuss the importance of setting realistic goals. Break down your job search into manageable tasks. Instead of focus solely on landing a job, set smaller, achievable goals like applying to a certain number of jobs each week, reaching out to new contacts, or learning a new skill. Celebrate these small victories. They add up and help keep you motivated. Speaking of learning new skills, continuous learning and development are crucial during a prolonged job search. Use this time to upskill or reskill. There are countless online courses available that can enhance your resume and make you more attractive to potential employers. This not only improves your prospects, but also keeps your mind engaged and gives you a sense of accomplishment. Another key aspect is networking. It's not just about who you know, but also who knows you. Attend industry events, join professional groups, and connect with people in your field on LinkedIn. Networking can open doors that you might not find through traditional job applications. Plus, talking to others in your industry can provide valuable insights and support. Taking care of your mental and physical health is also very paramount. Job searching can be stressful, so make sure to take regular breaks, exercise, and maintain a healthy diet. Practicing mindfulness or meditation can also help manage stress. Remember, it's okay to step back and recharge. You'll come back to your search with renewed energy and focus. It's also important to seek support from friends, family, or professional groups. Sharing your experiences and challenges with others can provide emotional relief and practical advice. Sometimes just knowing others understand what you're going through can be incredibly comforting. Now let's talk about routine and structure. It can be easy to lose track of time when you're not working, but maintaining a daily routine can help you stay productive and focused. Set aside specific hours each day for job searching, networking, and skill development. Having a structure in your day can give you a sense of normalcy and purpose. Another helpful strategy is staying flexible and open-minded. Sometimes the perfect opportunity might come from unexpected direction. Be open to different roles, industries, or even geographical locations. This flexibility can significantly broaden your opportunities and might lead you to a fulfilling career you hadn't initially considered. Finally, remember to stay patient and persistent. Job searching, especially during challenging economic times, can take longer than expected. Keep pushing forward, stay resilient, and trust in your abilities. Your perseverance will pay off. In conclusion, a prolonged job search is tough, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can navigate this period with resilience and optimism. Focus on continuous learning, networking, maintaining your health, and staying flexible. Every step you take is bringing you closer to your goal. I hope these tips help you stay resilient in your job search. Remember, I'm here to support you, so feel free to reach out if you need more advice or encouragement. Now, folks, we do need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll be talking with our guest Karl about his advice on staying resilient through an extended job search.
Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HRKyle. HRKyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HRKyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HRKyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HRKyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HRKyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business.
Are you striving to lead your team to success? Or perhaps you're navigating the complexities of the job market. Introducing The Solution, the HRKyle YouTube channel. Your go-to source for insightful guidance and practical tips. With short 1 to 2 minute clips, our videos save you time while delivering impactful, usable strategies. From effective leadership techniques to mastering the job application process, access valuable advice in minutes. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the HRKyle channel on YouTube today.
Welcome back to segment 2 of the HRKyle Podcast. Today's topic is about staying resilient in the face of a prolonged job search. Now we have a guest joining us, Karl, who's experienced a prolonged job search, and he'll be sharing his experience with us today. Karl, welcome to the HRKyle Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Wonderful, Karl. Great to have you here. Karl, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Karl with a K. I've been working for 11 years to climb myself out of poverty and change my life outcomes while working multiple jobs in high school and working full-time hours to get myself through undergrad and graduate school and obtain experience to be able to launch my career in the professional world. I was able to obtain a BBA in business management from Kent State and a master's in supply chain management from Case Western Reserve. My 11 years include 5 years in food service and in operations, food service and retail operations, where I was also put on project teams and also trained new hires and got places ready for corporate visits and health inspections. I spent 6 years in supply chain with experiences that can be summarized into purchasing, inventory management, continuous improvement, project management, and analytics, as well as being put into roles that require you to either be cross-functional or that glue/bridge among multiple different departments and stakeholder groups. 80% of what I've ever done has never been in my initial job description. It's always been take a position, learn what it is, get great at the day-to-day, ask why a lot, learn from your peers, learn from your managers, ask what can I do, ask to be put on projects, and you get to do a lot of other stuff that wasn't in your initial job description. And, while my career journey has been hectic, I've had the opportunity to do operations and supply chain across the United States in places like different places in Northeast Ohio, Las Vegas, Nevada, San Jose, California, and Boston, Massachusetts. And that's just a little bit about me.
Wonderful, Karl. It's definitely an impressive background, and you've been a lot of places and done quite a few different things. So, Karl, this episode's about staying persistent in your job search, and you've been looking for your ideal role for a while now. Can you describe some of the highs and lows you've experienced in your job search to this audience?
Yeah, sure. I'll start off with the negatives and then end with positives. So we'll start with lows here. So, no job search is perfect, and I sadly have had to do way too many of them for various reasons. But, sometimes you experience self-doubt, mental and physical exhaustion. What do you call it? It's kind of like this urge or anger or why me kind of thing when your career and to get where you are today, you've had to make multiple sacrifices that a lot of the people in your circles haven't had to make. And you keep having to make those sacrifices. So that kind of gets, on you. You have credit card debt that I've had to take on to get through job searches, other financial roles. You have the constant being rejected until you get to that final yes. I've had this happen, especially during COVID, where there were hiring freezes, where recruiters were still actively posting jobs and doing interviews for those roles, knowing very well that they weren't actually hiring. They were actually on a hiring freeze. Or for legal reasons, they're going through the interview process just so that they can hire the person they were already planning on hiring. And also making it to the final round interviews, being loved by everybody that you've interviewed with, but when they end up starting to split hairs, somebody has that final strand of hair that you don't have, and they end up getting the job offer, and you really didn't do anything wrong, and there's not really anything to necessarily improve on. It just happened to be when it came to that final hair, someone had something you didn't. And this actually happened today. I actually got into a car accident. I'm okay, but I was on my way back from a career fair in Columbus, and I got T-boned, but it's okay. So that happens. Some highs are that, again, I've gotten to do my career across the United States, and across industries, and I've been able to have support systems around me, in those organizations to execute in a short period of time. So I've made lasting impact everywhere I've went. So while I haven't found the ideal company post-COVID yet, you still can look back at that. I've also got to been way smarter than me across the United States, and I also got forced into doing my master's. I wasn't planning on doing my master's until probably 10 years or so post bachelor's degree. But I always say COVID had other plans. And I've known various people short and long term in my life, and just to see, all of these people coming out and trying to support me and doing what they can to help me through this process, is amazing. People genuinely want to help you if they know what's going on. So, you want to be able to be vulnerable and have discussions with people in your life. And, some people will close the door on you, but a lot of other people will hold the door wide open and say, what can I do, or how can I help? And then, each and every time I get to do an interview, whether it's a phone interview, a video interview, an in-person interview, I learn something. I've learned about industries I've never worked in simply by doing an interview and getting to see the inner workings of the companies that I've interviewed with. And while I haven't been doing a job for them, it's still a great learning opportunity. And those would be the negatives and positives that I've experienced through my job hunting, both after undergrad and post-COVID.
Well, Karl, kudos to you for a couple of reasons. One, thank you for being so honest with us about what you've been through, good, bad, and otherwise. And I think those that are listening that are in the position you're in right now, where they're in this prolonged job search, they need to hear that they're not alone in these feelings and these emotions that they're feeling, and they're the ones you described. And on the other side of that, for our hiring professionals that are listening, I think it's a good, hearty reminder that there is an impact to the hiring decisions that they make, especially in cases that you pointed out, to where there really isn't a job open, or they've already made their selection, so they're going through the process. And I think they need to hear that there is a personal impact that happens with that. And again, appreciate you sharing your story. Also admire you for recognizing the challenges, and you were very honest about those, but you also found the positives in this situation. And again, kudos to you for doing that. I think that's a good message for our audience to hear also.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always said, if you're gonna evaluate something and you're gonna evaluate it properly and be continuous improvement and agile minded, you have to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in order to create and describe the complete picture, you have to talk about all of it.
Amen. Very, very, very true. Well, Karl, with all of this in mind, and just the pushback and the challenges and the hurdles, and sometimes just the draining experiences that you've been through in your job search, what keeps you motivated to keep searching for the ideal job?
Yeah, I mean, some of this stems from my family. I had my grandfather die when I was in high school. My grandma's old, even when my grandfather died about 11 years ago. And my mom was also battling cancer while I was in high school, and she went through remission 5 or 6 times throughout a period of 4 to 5 years. So for me, and that's part of the reason why I worked 2 jobs when I was in high school, was so I could pay my own bills so that my expenses didn't become a burden on her. Part of this is me trying to move very, very quickly. So I got through my bachelor's degree in 3.5 years without any transfer credits. I did so by working full time and taking 18 credit hours a semester and doing what I had to do. And part of that was I want to finally make it before the other people in my life die. So part of that is that, right? So, that kind of fuels me. I've also made sacrifices for the past 11 years, and I finally made it before COVID happened. I was the head of purchasing for a luxury hotel in California with a company that truly held my values, that I planned on being with for 7 to 10 years or even longer, depending on how things went, before I went and got my master's, which was originally going to be an MBA. So I've been there once and I can get there again. But with that, even with the car accident today, still making it to this call today, is I've learned long ago that you have two choices in life. You can lay down and you can be the victim and you can cry and moan and complain about it, or you can still complain and cry and moan about it, but at the end of the day, you got to say, yeah, that sucks. It may or may not be your fault, and fight. And for me, I've always said the day I stop fighting is the day I'm dead. And I truly mean that. And beyond my family, that personal part of the family and trying to get somewhere before they all pass away, is they're also there to support me and be with me. My friends, my mentors, and the other friends that I've made across industries and business. Even when I'm having a bad day or even when I'm having good days, they talk with me, they help me through things. I also love what I do and I love learning. And so while I haven't got to where I want to be yet again, still learning, I still get to do what I love. Eventually I'll find that challenge where a team and a company respects my time outside of work and holds my values. It's that fire of knowing that eventually, even though it's been 3 to 4 years, eventually the COVID rebuilding process will be over and I will get back what was stripped away from me back in 2020, 2021. I've actually come a long way from the 15, 16-year-old Karl. Being able to look back on that journey and see where I started, the different roadblocks I overcame, the people that have helped me in life, and where I am today, and just kind of seeing that. And at the end of the day, right now, I don't necessarily see the light in my job hunt. That reminds me that the light exists. So the days that I'm having a rough day, I can look back on that and know that even through the darkness right now, it will get better.
Karl, so many wonderful points there. There's a couple that I want to pull out specifically that I think are themes that run through what you shared. For one, you've got a wonderful support network around you. And I think anyone who is weathering this prolonged job search, you have to have that. And you've certainly spoken to that at length. I think the other thing that comes through, and I've known this about you since the first time we talked, is you have a true passion for the work that you want to do and that you've done. And I think that's another thing that's kept you motivated. It's one of those things that if you're out there listening today and you're working through this prolonged job search, that you have to have that passion. And then finally, you clearly have a reason to persist. And that is obviously front and center in your mind as to what you're working towards and what your ultimate goal is. And you're not losing sight of that. And again, for those out there listening who are struggling through a little bit longer job search, keep that ultimate goal right in front of you and in mind. So Karl, thank you for pointing those things out. Really quickly, with the last few minutes that we have here, what advice would you provide to someone who's been looking for a job for a while and still hasn't quite found the right one?
I would say always be yourself. Don't try to hide something, because at the end of the day, if you want to be yourself at work, but you weren't yourself in the interview, it's going to show and it may not actually be the right fit for you. And also the right team and the right hiring managers will understand the good, the bad, and the ugly that your resume or your journey will show. So I never get worried about that. Don't let life's pressures make you ignore different red flags that you see in the interview process. I've done that before, and all it's done is put me back in the job search process 6-7 months later. 9 times out of 10, you're right. So trust your instincts. And if you need to, don't feel ashamed of taking a full-time or part-time job to make money to support your bills while you do your job hunt. Again, back to the original point, the right employer and team will understand what you need to do. Think about what's important to you and what your deal breakers are. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable around the people around you and ask your network for help, because like I said earlier, they genuinely want to help, most of them. They just need to know what's going on. I've also had this advice given to me many times of, you need to have target companies. That's not necessarily true. So unless you truly want to work for a certain company, I say ignore that advice. I don't have them. I've discovered countless companies through my internship and full-time job searches that I've never knew existed. I've also discovered industries that I never knew existed. And through that, I don't target companies. I target jobs, responsibilities, that's supply chain, project management, cross-functionality, roles. I target my values that I care about, and I target a challenge. So for me, that's what's important. What industry a company's in, what they necessarily do, that doesn't necessarily matter to me. Every single company I've ever worked for has actually been my first time in that industry outside of food service. And so I found a reason to love what they do, but ultimately I love the job. And I've also had this been told to me before, but I've also heard people say, dumb down your resume or dumb down your answers to a question. And I don't like that advice. And the reason for that is I have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in a short period of time in my life. I never claim to know everything. However, there are people in interview processes that get threatened by people that they perceive to be smarter than them or have done something that they've never done before but have wanted to do, and they'll reject you because of it. I still don't understand the psychology of it, but they do. But again, it goes back to that original point that I said at the beginning of this question, which is be yourself, and the right employer and team and hiring managers will understand. So never sacrifice who you are just to get a job offer. And those would be my advice of the people today.
Very helpful advice, Karl, and I really want to thank you for joining us to share your experience with this audience, and quite frankly, to be so open and honest about your experience. So very much appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
Well, folks, that wraps up this episode, and we're certainly thankful you joined us today. Be sure that you like and follow the HRKyle Podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. But otherwise, until next time, remember to stay focused, stay grounded, and of course, stay tuned.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HRKyle Podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HRKyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at HRKyle.com. That's HRKyle.com to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HRKyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.